Hello there. Welcome to the winter solstice. We have a supermoon in Capricorn, new moon and sun in Capricorn. And supermoon means it's going to be closer and therefore larger to the eye, visible. So this is a really important time of year. It's a sacred time of year. Might not be an easy time, but it's a sacred time. Why? Because we've reached our darkest day. And now the light increases. It's a turning point. It's a 180. So as we know, when you're traveling fast towards something and you've got to make a 180, it doesn't happen like this. Usually there's a bit of a slowdown and then, oh yeah, there's the wall. Okay, turn around. Now we're going back the other direction. So you might feel like a sense of things getting heavier, denser, harder to turn around. We've also had, and I haven't checked this myself, I'm going here on what's happening, what the reports of other people are saying, but there have been a lot of solar flares in the last couple of weeks, also making the energy very difficult to manage. So if you have been getting symptoms, some of us do. Some of us are very sensitive to electromagnetic fields. Some people, when there's high electromagnetic activity or solar flares, they get vision disturbances, headaches, achy, nauseous, all kinds of stuff like that. So is it the flares? Is it the season? It could be some of both. But all I can tell you is most people I speak to seem to be really mulling things over and, just coping with a lot of things at once, it seems. So we're going to take a look at the chart as usual, and I apologize that I didn't do one for the full moon in Gemini. I was in the midst of, literally, I was in the air flying to London as the full moon was was progressing. And no, I didn't see it out the plane window, damn it. I did ask the flight attendant, but she wasn't sure what direction we would see it and if I was on the right side of the plane. I was really hoping to see the full moon from the plane. So yes, I am here in London, England. I'm going to do a shorter video because I still have customers that I'm taking online in North America. And as you can imagine, managing time with time zones and appointments has been quite the thing. It's something I said I wanted, like in theory. Oh yeah, cool. Now I can like travel and I can work online and I can see and it's great. But mentally, I'm not used to thinking about things in different time zones and how to arrange my days. And so anyway, this is going to be a bit of a shorter solstice reading, but I still wanted to give you one because I'm just in the midst of so much stuff going on. I did readings yesterday at the Atlantis Bookshop in London, where I launched my book in the spring, and they invited me back, and they're just wonderful, wonderful ladies, wonderful store if you ever get the chance. And I'll be going back again tomorrow, so exciting for me. But I will also admit that my energy is quite low physically, and some of it is the darkness, the season, the solar flares, yeah, and some of it is the climate differences here that I wasn't expecting to have so many challenges with temperature and climate. Yeah, so let's take a look now at our chart for this new moon. All right. So as you can see, most of the planets are clustered on the bottom. So my first feeling when I saw this was, oh, this is a really like interior unconscious energies coming up kind of time. It's, you know, it's a dark moon. The new moon is the dark moon where you plant the seeds for what you want to come to fruition later on. So this definitely has this feeling of planets are almost planted beneath the horizon line. What does that mean? It means that any kind of dynamics I'm going to talk to you about are playing out either unconscious to us or in a very like suppressed or emotional way. They could be playing out with your physical body because they're not so present in your mind. They're not as obvious mentally what you're dealing with, or they're not out there for you to see. It's harder to be aware of stuff that's below the horizon line. It's more primal energy. So the dynamics that you see down at the bottom are playing out in your subconscious or in your body or in your raw emotions right now. So this is done again for Eastern time zone. So New York or, you know, Toronto, Canada, Montreal, where I am. So I cast it for that time zone. And it would have a Sagittarius as the rising sign. So as I said, if you do it for a different time zone, then some of the planets might not all be submerged. Now, the only one that's above the horizon line is Mars in Gemini, which is a big factor for a few months because it's been in Gemini for a couple of months and it's going to stay there all the way till March. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned in another video, but I'll mention now again. Mars in Gemini means that, you know, your willpower and the way you act, the way you move, the way you express yourself, the way you go about getting what you want in the world is in a dual air sign. So how does Gemini go about getting what it wants or expressing itself? Well, it's going to do it by talking a lot, by socializing, by networking, by Googling, by asking 10 people, by, you know, by doing 5 things at once. It's really like Mars and Gemini is the ultimate multitasker, or it could be the ultimate scatterbrain because it has a tendency to take on more and more and more and more and more and more and more. If it comes to tasks, you're going to have a to-do list like this long and you're going to go, oh no, I can handle that and add more. And so you could fry yourself. You could burn out with Mars. You can harm yourself with Mars. You'll either get enormous amounts done or you might hit a wall and you start burning yourself out or going against yourself with Mars. If it comes to socializing, Mars and Gemini is out in the town, you know, bar hopping or going to like 2 networking meetings and a dinner at, you know, the following evening and keeps in touch with people and is constantly texting or messaging. Or so again, you have like a person who might, or an energy that might be hyper social and very good at it, or you can run the risk of they've got too many people to to manage, and therefore they're going to lose track. They could say the wrong thing to the wrong person because, oops, I forgot, right? You know, those people, oh damn, you know, because you just start to get so overloaded with how much there is that you can lose your groundedness with people. So there can be Mars and Gemini could bring in a lot of new people to your life easily if you're outgoing, but it could also bring some gossip. It could bring some, you know, Mars and Gemini is related to the cruelty card in the tarot, which is usually talking about mental anguish or sometimes verbal abuse. So Mars and Gemini period up until March, highly anxious, anxiety. You're going to feel it in yourself. You're going to feel it in people around you. So, and I'm, you know, I got to work on it too, like everyone else. So it's at a height. If you're getting anxious, you need to simplify how much you're doing at once, or how many people you're seeing at once, or something. And this is the only planet that's above the horizon for us to be conscious of, and it's falling in the 7th house of relationships. So if we go down here to the sun and moon in Capricorn, it's in the 1st house. And its main aspect is a square to Jupiter and Neptune. Well, Neptune's right on the cusp of Aries at 0. Neptune's at 22 Pisces. So, you know, they're not in signs that square per se. Well, Jupiter is, but you know, Sun Moon squaring Jupiter Neptune way down there, that's really murky, I have to tell you. Like, it has a feeling of, are you betraying yourself? Are you going against yourself? Are you you know, and how do you do that? What does that mean, going against yourself? Well, your self-speak. Are you putting yourself down? Are you crapping on yourself? Are you guilt tripping yourself? Are you enabling like fantasies about things that aren't really constructive for you? Are you dealing with illusions that are, you know, or things that are bursting your bubble? That's what I mean by sort of murky, you know, are you going against yourself type of energy. And holidays can bring up a lot of those kind of questions anyway, when everybody's bombarded with what a perfect life should look like every time you turn around to a store window or a movie. So you might be really questioning a lot of things. And I would just advise people not to be down on yourself as much as you can. Ask yourself if you're sabotaging yourself in any way by what you're doing, who you're around, what you're talking, you know, how you're speaking to yourself. Easier said than done, but that's a strong theme. Otherwise, as you can see, it's not making any aspects to anything, the sun and moon and new moon. So we move on then to this cluster here, which is Venus, Mercury, and Pluto, all in Capricorn. Lots of Capricorn energy. That's 5 planets there now. So what does Capricorn do? Well, it's practical. It's worried about what's the long-term picture going to look like? How do I plan for 10 years from now? What do I have to do today to make sure that I'm safe and secure and can provide and have everything I need 10 years from now? So we have a lot of planets in Capricorn really emphasizing that. You might be feeling, depending, if you're a Capricorn, you're used to that. But if you're another sign that doesn't think like that, you might be feeling it like a dead weight on you, like scared of the future, scared of like, what am I going to do in 5 years? Oh no, I don't have this all figured out. Oh no, what if that happens and then this changes? And what if I lose the thing? Like, because Capricorn does, I find they deal with a lot of fear of that, but they will strategize around it so well to try to get ahead of it and make plans for the future and do something about it. That's what they're very strong at. But for the rest of us, Joes, you know, who don't think as long term and we're not used to it, you might be feeling sort of apprehensive sometimes about the long-term picture and what to do about it and how far ahead to plan. And you know, and all I can say is look at how much the world changed since 2020. Anything can happen at any time and the world can shift, and it's not always going to be bad, but it will shift. And so it's very hard to actually secure anything to that degree years in advance. Very difficult for most people. But still, it's a good exercise to think about what do you want in the long term and what could you be doing now to better your future. That it's not necessarily sacrifice, but you can start, for example, if you know that there's something in your family health history, you start to act accordingly to circumvent it or prevent it as best you can now, that kind of thing. If you know that you want a house, well, you can start saving. You know, Capricorn is very good at doing that. And the other thing that Capricorn energy will bring is this desire for climbing the ladder, status, power, getting to the top, climbing to the top, making sure, you know, there's an ambitious path with the Capricorns. They're willing to work for it. They're not expecting free rides up to the top of the ladder. And so we might be thinking a lot about our work or about how to climb a ladder or get further up in our own status. Or some of you might be focusing on, you know, the have and the have not factor of society. Because all that Capricorn energy sort of talks about the haves, you know, this capitalist model that we're in, where some people, the richest people, don't pay taxes and the lowest people feel like slaves. So those themes are very Capricorn as well, and especially with Pluto there. This feeling of like, where is society going? You know, and where do I fit into it could be quite a bit on your mind. And as usual, it's making actually good aspects to Jupiter, Neptune. So it lends itself to using that energy in a good way. So instead of like illusions and exaggeration and like potentially going, you know, sabotaging yourself, well, when it comes to the Venus, Mercury, Pluto side of it, it's a little more like, you know, visionary, enacting a vision. Some things feeling a bit magical at times, things feeling a bit like ethereal or otherworldly, or wow, this is just clicking. How did that happen? So we do get a little bit of that magic feeling if we allow it this holidays. And it's also making a great aspect to this Uranus North Node in Taurus, which is getting even tighter now. So, you know, and as we've mentioned, this is the North Node is the direction that things are going in, and Uranus is the, you know, the rebel and the upheaval and the we must build a better world and we must tear down the old one first. And things come quickly and erratically and like a lightning bolt with Uranus. So Uranus in North Node is sort of like every so often something comes along and goes like, you're like, what was that? What do I have to do? What's going on now? And then something changes. And then something goes like, oh, what's going on now? You know, little earthquakes, as I keep saying, little upheavals and earthquakes that keep happening, and then we have to keep realigning and readjusting. But this is the North Node. This is where things are going towards, is rebuilding a new normal, a new normal that we don't yet know what it'll look like. And it will stabilize or be more secure down the road, but we're not there yet. We don't know what it's even going to look like yet. And so these Capricorn planets, all that ambition, that desire to work hard for the future is hitting up with this in a good way. But again, Capricorn wants everything to be all planned out and secure. And this is saying, but you're going to try anyway. You're going to try anyway. And we have a little bit of friction here, just down here with Venus, Mercury, and Chiron. So a little bit of like, you can't always get what you want. A little bit of wounding to the feminine ego, the feminine side of us with Venus and Chiron. It's like, so some of you, as I said, there's some, you know, sort of like momentum and magic in the air, depending on what's going on. And there's some energy of like, why don't I have, or why am I not in the position of, or why don't, you know, why isn't this working the way I thought? And how come I can't, like, am I denied what I want? Am I valued? Am I not? You know, there's a bit of that going on, gotta say. So if you're grappling with all of that, and you've got Mars in Gemini, which is just asking you to be constantly busy, and talking, and oh, this project and that, and I think in that, but I mean, it's easy to distract yourself with all the Mars and Gemini energy. And if you're feeling well, maybe that's a good strategy. Maybe just keep really busy and you won't get this sinking heavy mood that's in the air. But if you're not, like if you're overwhelming yourself with the Mars and Gemini, you might really be like adding way too much stress to your plate and should really be a little careful. All right, so let's do our cards for everybody. I'm going to skip the general cards for this moon. I feel like I've described the mood pretty well for the new moon and the holidays. So I just want to pull a card for each sign and talk about what is your new moon message? What is your new moon message? What should you focus on? What do you need to do to be your best self? Or what issue are is coming up for you? What's your new moon message? Okay. All right. So Aries, your message is the Eight of Wands. So being direct, you're already direct. Being high-minded, being uplifting to yourself and others, using your positivity. This is also about being athletic, getting your exercise. But it mainly has this uplifted feeling. So you might sort of be, well, unless you need it, you might be the cheerleader right now, unless you need the cheerleader. And sometimes this card talks about traveling in short journeys or long journeys. I just love that all the arrows are going everywhere in the rainbow. It just feels like anything's possible. That's why it's got this buoyancy. So yeah, if you're you need to seek that energy, and if you do have this energy within you, then you need to share it with others who are needing it. Taurus, you've got the Two of Swords. So this is nice. This is the card of peace. It's making amends. It's making peace with people, with something in yourself. It's calm. It's there's lots of discussion. There might be some more like one-on-one or intimate type of visits than groups that you're more into right now. But overall, it looks like a time when you could really like clear some air if you need to with anybody and have a really good heart to heart. Gemini. Gemini, you've got the Four of Cups. That's lovely. The luxury card. Well, you need to rest. You need to put your feet up and Mars has probably been kicking your butt, keeping you busy. So I would say this new moon just really like take some time. This is a card of nurturing yourself. So if you want to like put your feet up, make your favorite food, fall asleep in front of the TV, whatever it is, like it's about laziness in a way, like things you call lazy, but they're nurturing. If you want to stay in bed an extra 2 hours, if you want to, I don't know, if you want brand new fuzzy pajamas to make you feel better, like it's nurture yourself, take a rest, put your feet up, stop driving yourself so hard for now. Cancers. Oh boy, Cancer. Well, this is your opposite time of year where all of these Capricorn planets and you're a Cancer and they're your opposite. It's not an easy time of year for Cancers. Christmas can sometimes suck for Cancers. Okay, there I said it. This is a card of anger and fights, conflicts, which of course you hate. Mars and Aries, you probably need to fight. You probably need to step up and defend and fight the battle for yourself. I would say, obviously don't seek out arguments or pick fights or whatever that don't need to be there, but it's sort of just telling me like make sure you're not being taken advantage of here. Like don't just capitulate and go, oh, it's too hard, I've got no energy. No, you looks like you need to fight to stand your ground, and don't let yourself be taken for granted or put down or mistreated in any way. You've got to step up to that to the best of your ability. but also we don't want to get like into just like become a total rage muffin either, right? Like there's a limit to how much you step up, you stand up, you say your piece, you act as much as you can, and then you have to let it go because that anger can just ruin your holidays and ruin your mind, you know? But I'm a Cancer and I relate to that card and I know why I picked it because I have to stand up to some Airbnbs. I've had to do it twice already and I'm going to have to do it one more time. But it's all right. Okay. Leos. Ah, very nice. Success card. So, well, you might be doing some extra work over the holidays, but try not to do too much. Like you might want to get a little bit of light work done during this new moon, but don't be in your workaholic. Like this is saying you're already doing all right here. You're already succeeding. And for me, this card is always a healing card because if you can see, I don't know if it's obvious there. Okay. There's a cross inside this circle of light, and there's a rose. And for me, it always feels like a deep message of healing. So you're going to be busy and productive, and you've got a few venues and things you're doing, and you might do a bit of work, but take time to do things that you find healing for yourself as well. All right, Virgos. Oh boy, Virgo, you're not feeling happy here. This is the oppression card. You're feeling trapped. You're feeling trapped or stuck in something. Something has become too much to bear, which means you might need to let go or quit or leave or whatever it is. You don't feel you've got your freedom right now, and that's not good. You have to identify what is that situation that's making you feel oppressed or trapped, and how long has that situation really been going on? Because by the time you get to the 10 of wands, there's been a long progression here. Like you might have been, it might not be a specific person or place or job. It might be something that just mentally the way you think, or it might be like a really long-term relationship with yourself or with your work or with a person that's really just accumulated and it doesn't work for you. So you need to liberate yourself from whatever feels like it's trapping you. All right, Libras. Very nice. You've got a card of gain, money. So I suppose finances might be a theme for you for this new moon, but this is showing like an increase, usually. Hopefully it's not that you're spending too much, but you know, it usually means the money is there. So you might be spending, but you also have it. You might be spending, but money is also coming in. It's usually a pretty good card for for your work being on track, for having, you know, having those extra dollars for the luxuries or the things, the treats that you want, to treat yourself with some stuff. And even if you don't have tons of money in the world, maybe we're talking that you have like a little bit of extra that came in and you could do something nice for yourself with it. But, you know, some of you might see more gains than that. And otherwise, it'd be a caution to like, don't overspend with your new moon. Yeah, you don't need to. Uh, if people know that you love them, you don't need to spend to show them that, you know? Um, yeah, that's all I'll say. Scorpios. Oh, lovely. You've got the abundance card, Three of Cups. So this might be a very nice new moon for you. You might just be just feeling like you're in your element with people, a very nice balance of very nice work-life balance, very nice balance with people around you. Lots of sharing, lots of food, lots of drink maybe. But yeah, this is just the ultimate lovely card of like enjoying the abundance, enjoying a party together, enjoying gatherings. Um, the bonding and the emotion, like the empathy and the bonding that comes with the people. This is really lovely. This is like a super lovely message for you, Scorpio. Very harmonious, nice new moon phase. All right, Sagittarius. And we've got the Four of Swords. So you're also equally socially busy and multitasking right now. And you might be in the midst of mediating or facilitating conversations in groups or with family or with other friends, neighborhoods, whatever. Like you're out and about and you're in a position of bringing people together. This is a card that says truce. So people lay their swords down and they come together and they talk and they solve. And the swords are surrounded by green, which is more the heart color. So even though it's an air card, which means just intellectualizing stuff, the heart chakra is brought in there and the flower is brought in there. And for me, it always feels like in the chaos that you see all around it, there is a meeting of minds that succeeds in the middle. That's a lovely message for you. All right, Capricorn. Happy birthday, by the way, to those of you up and coming. And we've got the universe. Okay. You're in a period of intense evaluation and closure. The universe card lasts longer than just the new moon. So even though it's a new moon, and we talked all about the long-term planning of a Capricorn. So what do you need to do then is you're evaluating people, projects, places, dreams, old ideas. Everything's flooding up and coming up all at once, and you have to discern what things are over, what things you will revive, what things you will say, I'm shelving that for 5 years, what things you say, I must still do this, I got to do it now. You're putting closure and, resolution to many aspects of your life, and it's a process. So this is an ongoing feeling. This is not just the new moon for you. Aquarius, you've got the Chariot. So this new moon, with the Chariot, you might be finding there's some dramas within the family or within, friend groups or groups at work. And it looks like you feel like you're the one who has to try to bring everybody together, get people on board, help people understand each other's side, or push people towards a goal that you want, that you think is productive. But the charioteer is so armored, and it's really hard. It can be really hard to consolidate everybody, because as you see, everybody, all of these figures at the bottom, they're all facing different directions, and the level of effort it's going to take you to get everybody where you would like them to be feels to me like it's a bit too ambitious for now. So I would say to lighten up and just focus on one or two people versus a whole group. Focus on one or two relationships, it feels like it's relationships related. Focus on one or two of them and dive in a little deeper and improve those, and not worry about the whole picture of the group for now. You need to lighten your load a little of what you're taking on responsibility for. And Pisces, you've got the Princess of Discs. So that feels to me like you want to be outside, you want to be in nature, you want to be in the forest, you need to go for walks, you need to get fresh air. You need some time alone, or your space. Maybe you want to do some of your hobbies. It's got a very nice peaceful feeling to it. So I would say your new moon is going to be very sort of grounding and centering, and if it's not, that's what you need to do. You need to go for a walk in the woods and alone and sort of get your heart clear. And I think that you're going to find a lot of peace with that in the holiday season. So this was a short one, and I wish everybody a lovely winter solstice and a Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. And I really hope that you start to feel the increasing of the light and the optimism, and just that you start to feel the shift, and that you are gentle with yourself and gentle with the people around you this holiday season. All right.